Rome, Italy. June 3, 1972. 2:47 p.m. The ancient Colosseum stands silent in the distance, a monument to warriors who died proving their worth. But today, a different kind of battle is about to unfold. Not in an arena built for blood, but on a movie set where two martial arts titans will meet, and one will walk away forever changed. The air is thick with Mediterranean heat. Dust rises from the cobblestones of the Cinecittà Studios backlit. Crew members move cables and adjust lights for the next scene of a film that will become legendary. The Way of the Dragon. Bruce Lee's directorial debut. His chance to show the world what real martial arts looks like on screen. Not the wire work and fantasy of traditional cinema, but raw, explosive, effective combat. Bruce stands near the camera, wearing his iconic yellow jumpsuit. Sweat glistens on his forehead. His eyes scan the set with the precision of a predator. Every detail matters to him. Every punch must be real. Every kick must carry intention. At 31 years old, he has already revolutionized how the world sees Chinese martial arts. But he knows his greatest challenge is yet to come. The final fight scene. Against a man whose reputation precedes him like thunder before a storm. Chuck Norris arrives at 3:15 p.m. 6 feet tall, shoulders broad as a doorframe, moving with the controlled confidence of someone who has never lost when it mattered. His jaw is set, his blue eyes calm. He wears his karate gi loosely, the black belt tied with the casual ease of a man who has worn it for years. At 32, Chuck Norris is not just a martial artist. He is a phenomenon. 6-time world professional karate champion. Undefeated in tournament competition. His style is Shotokan and Tang Soo Do, a devastating combination of Japanese and Korean techniques built on one principle: linear power. Straight punches. Direct kicks. Economy of motion. No wasted movement. Just brutal effectiveness. If you're still watching this, you're not here for movie magic or Hollywood myths. You're here because you want to know what really happens when legends collide. When two philosophies of fighting meet face to face. That's what we explore on this channel. The real stories behind the myths. The moments that changed martial arts forever. If you want more of these untold legends, hit that subscribe button right now. Because what happens in the next 12 seconds will rewrite everything you think you know about martial arts superiority. Don't let that happen. Subscribe. And let's continue. The two men shake hands. Bruce's grip is firm, but not aggressive. Chuck's smile is genuine. They have met before, briefly, at tournaments in the United States. Mutual respect exists between them. But respect does not mean agreement. And today, on this Roman film set, a conversation is about to begin that will test everything both men believe. The director calls for a break. Crew members scatter to find shade. Bruce and Chuck walk together toward the edge of the set, near a row of ancient-looking columns built from plaster and wood. Someone brings water. They drink. The conversation begins casually. Bruce asks Chuck about his training. Chuck asks Bruce about his philosophy. Both men are feeling each other out. Not physically. Not yet. But mentally. Testing beliefs. Probing foundations. Chuck speaks first about technique. His voice is calm, measured, the voice of a man who has spent years teaching. He explains his approach. Shotokan karate emphasizes the straight line. The shortest distance between 2 points. A reverse punch travels directly from the hip to the target. No circular motion. No wasted energy. Maximum force delivered in minimum time. He has used this style to dominate every major tournament in the United States. He has fought the best fighters in the world. And he has won. Again. And again. Bruce listens. His face reveals nothing. He nods occasionally. His eyes never leave Chuck's face. He is not offended. He is analyzing. Chuck continues. He mentions, almost casually, that in his experience, karate's linear power is more effective than the circular movements of traditional kung fu. Not an insult. Just an observation. A fact, in his mind, proven by results. Tournament fighting rewards speed and directness. Circular techniques, while beautiful, often take too long. That is the reality of combat. That is why karate dominates modern competition. Bruce takes a slow sip of water. He sets the cup down on a wooden crate. He looks at Chuck with an expression that is part amusement, part curiosity. Then he smiles. Not mockingly. Not arrogantly, but with the quiet confidence of someone who has seen something others have not. He says, softly, in his distinct Hong Kong accent, "Chuck, let me show you something." The crew members nearby sense a shift in the air. Conversations stop. A few turn to watch. Bruce steps back, creating space. Chuck, curious now, sets down his own water. He assumes a neutral stance. Not aggressive. Not defensive. Just ready. He has sparred with hundreds of martial artists. He has tested his skills against every style. He respects them all. But he has also defeated them all. Bruce does not assume a traditional Wing Chun stance. He does not lower into a horse stance or extend his arms in a classical guard. Instead, he stands naturally, almost casually, weight slightly on his back leg, hands loose at his sides. To an untrained observer, he looks unprepared. To Chuck, who has fought countless opponents, this looks dangerous. Because the most dangerous fighters are the ones who do not need to look ready. Bruce speaks as he moves. His voice is calm, almost conversational. He explains that Wing Chun, the southern Chinese martial art he learned from Ip Man in Hong Kong, is built on a different principle than Shotokan karate. Not linear. Not circular. But both. Simultaneously. Wing Chun does not block and then strike. It blocks by striking. Every movement serves two purposes. Economy of motion taken to its ultimate conclusion. And the center line, the vertical axis running through the center of the body, is everything. Control the center line, and you control the fight. Chuck listens, but he is skeptical. He has heard similar claims before. Every martial art believes it is the best. Every master believes his system is superior. But tournaments do not lie. And in tournaments, karate wins. Bruce seems to sense this skepticism. He does not argue. He does not debate. Instead, he says, "Throw a punch at me. Any punch. Your best punch." Chuck hesitates for only a moment. Then he nods. He steps forward, shifting his weight, and launches a reverse punch. A textbook Shotokan reverse punch. His rear hand drives forward in a straight line, his hips rotate, his shoulder extends, his fist travels with explosive speed directly toward Bruce's solar plexus. Fast. Powerful. Precise. The kind of punch that has won him 6 world championships. Bruce does not step back. He does not block with a sweeping motion. Instead, his hands move in a blur. Not a single movement, but a rapid sequence so fast it appears simultaneous. His lead hand intercepts Chuck's punch at the wrist, not hard, but guiding it slightly off the center line. His rear hand moves forward at the same instant, trapping Chuck's arm. And before Chuck can process what is happening, Bruce's lead hand shoots forward again, stopping 1 inch from Chuck's face. 3 movements. 1 fluid motion. Total time elapsed, less than 1 second. Chuck blinks. His punch, the punch that has never failed him, is frozen. His arm is trapped. His body is exposed. And Bruce's fist hovers in front of his eyes, motionless, a silent promise of what could have happened. The realization crashes over Chuck like a wave. He is completely neutralized. And Bruce has not even struck him. Bruce releases the trap and steps back. He says nothing. He does not need to. Chuck, breathing slightly faster now, stares at his own arm as if it betrayed him. He says, "Again. Let me try again." Bruce nods. Chuck resets. This time he throws a jab. Fast. Snapping. The kind of punch that sets up combinations. Bruce's response is different, but the result is the same. His hands intercept, redirect, and trap. Chuck's arm is pinned. Bruce's hand is at Chuck's throat. 2 movements. Less than a second. Chuck steps back, his mind racing. He tries a 3rd time. A different angle. A feint followed by a cross. Bruce does not fall for the feint. His hands move independently, one intercepting the feint, the other trapping the real punch. In 3 movements, Chuck is frozen again. His wrists are crossed, controlled by Bruce's hands, and he cannot pull free. Chuck Norris, 6-time world champion, undefeated tournament fighter, stands completely still. Not because he wants to, but because he cannot move. His arms, the weapons that have destroyed every opponent he has faced, are useless. Controlled. Nullified. By a man 4 inches shorter and 30 pounds lighter. The crew members who were watching have gone silent. A few exchange glances. Someone whispers something in Italian. The sound of distant traffic drifts across the set. But here, in this small circle of plaster columns and movie lights, time has stopped. Bruce releases Chuck's arms and steps back. He is not breathing hard. He is not smiling in triumph. His expression is neutral, almost gentle. He says, "You see? Wing Chun does not compete with your punch. It uses your punch. Your power becomes my power. Your speed becomes my trap. The harder you strike, the easier you are to control." Chuck rubs his wrists. Not because they hurt, but because he is trying to understand what just happened. He has felt the trap. He has felt the control. But his mind is struggling to process the mechanics. How did Bruce intercept so quickly? How did he redirect without force? Bruce continues. Karate is strong. Very strong. Your punch could break bones. But in a real fight, there are no rules. No points. No referees. If I block your punch and you block my punch, we are even. But if I trap your punch and strike at the same time, you have no defense. That is the difference. Not strength. Not speed. But structure. And economy. Chuck listens. His skepticism is gone. Replaced by something else. Curiosity. Hunger. The hunger every true martial artist feels when they realize there is something beyond their current understanding. He has spent 15 years perfecting his karate. He has won every tournament worth winning. But in 12 seconds, Bruce Lee has shown him a dimension of combat he never knew existed. Chuck asks, "Can you teach me?" Bruce looks at him for a long moment. Evaluating. Not Chuck's skill. Chuck's skill is obvious. But his intention. His humility. His willingness to unlearn in order to learn. Finally, Bruce nods. Yes. But not here. Not now. We have a movie to finish. After we film our fight scene, we will train together. I will show you what I know. And you will show me what you know. We will learn from each other. Chuck extends his hand. Bruce takes it. The handshake is different this time. Not the polite greeting of two professionals. But the acknowledgement between student and teacher. Between one master and another. A bond forged not through words, but through the honest exchange of technique. The director calls everyone back to set. The break is over. Filming resumes. Bruce and Chuck prepare for their iconic fight scene. The battle in the Colosseum. But now, both men know something the audience will never see. The real fight already happened. And it lasted 12 seconds. Over the next 3 weeks of filming, Bruce and Chuck train together every morning before the crew arrives. Bruce teaches Chuck the principles of trapping. Pack saw. Lop saw. Bong saw. The basic hand techniques of Wing Chun. Not to replace Chuck's karate. But to enhance it. To fill the gaps. Chuck, in return, teaches Bruce the kicking techniques of Tang Soo Do. The chambering. The hip rotation. The follow-through. Bruce absorbs everything like a sponge. He does not care where knowledge comes from. To Bruce, martial arts is not about nationality or tradition. It is about effectiveness. About truth. One morning, after a particularly intense training session, Chuck asks Bruce a question that has been bothering him since that first encounter. Why didn't you ever compete in tournaments? With your skill, you could have won everything. Bruce sits on the edge of a wooden crate, wiping sweat from his face with a towel. He considers the question carefully. Then he says, tournaments have rules. Rules are necessary for safety. For fairness. But rules also create limitations. In a tournament, you cannot strike the throat. You cannot attack the eyes. You cannot break the knee. So fighters develop habits. They learn to fight within the rules. And those habits become weaknesses on the street. I do not train for tournaments. I train for reality. There is a difference. Chuck nods slowly. He understands. He has spent years fighting in tournaments. And he has won. But Bruce is talking about something beyond winning. Something beyond trophies and titles. He is talking about the difference between sport and combat. Between art and war. Bruce continues. You are a great fighter, Chuck. One of the best I have ever seen. Your technique is excellent. Your conditioning is excellent. But you have spent so long training for rules that you have forgotten what fighting without rules looks like. That is not a criticism. That is just observation. And now, you are learning. You are adapting. That is what makes you dangerous. Not your skill. But your willingness to evolve. Chuck absorbs these words. They sting, but they also inspire. Because he knows Bruce is right. He has become so dominant in tournament karate that he has stopped questioning his methods. He has stopped exploring. But Bruce, who has never competed, has forced him to see the limitations of his own system. The filming of The Way of the Dragon concludes in late June 1972. The final fight scene between Bruce and Chuck becomes legendary. Audiences around the world will watch Chuck Norris, the undefeated karate champion, battle Bruce Lee in the ruins of the Roman Colosseum. They will see the clash of styles, the exchange of techniques, the respect between warriors. But they will not know the real story. The 12 seconds that changed everything. After the film wraps, Bruce and Chuck remain friends. They train together whenever their schedules allow. Chuck begins incorporating Wing Chun trapping techniques into his own fighting style. His students notice the change. His hands move differently now. Faster. More efficient. Less reliance on single devastating strikes. More emphasis on controlling the opponent's weapons. His fighting becomes more complete. More adaptable. In interviews years later, Chuck Norris will speak openly about Bruce Lee's influence on his martial arts journey. He will say, without hesitation, that Bruce was the most skilled martial artist he ever met. Not the strongest. Not the fastest in a straight line. But the most complete. The most adaptable. The man who could make any technique work because he understood principles, not just movements. Chuck will tell the story about that day in Rome. The day he threw his best punch and found it trapped. The day his ego took a back seat to his desire to learn. He will say that Bruce taught him the most important lesson a martial artist can learn, that there is always someone better, always something new to discover, and that true mastery is not about proving you are right, but about constantly searching for what is true. Bruce Lee will die on July 20, 1973, just 1 year after their meeting in Rome. He will be 32 years old. The world will lose a legend. But his influence will live on. In the students he taught. In the philosophy he shared. In the films he created. And in the lives he changed. Chuck Norris will carry Bruce's lessons for the rest of his life. He will teach them to his own students. He will speak about them in interviews. He will honor the man who humbled him in 12 seconds and then lifted him higher than he had ever stood before. The lesson is simple. But it is profound. Being the best at what you do is not the same as being complete. Winning tournaments is not the same as understanding combat. And true mastery is not about dominating others. It is about elevating them. Bruce Lee did not destroy Chuck Norris's confidence that day in Rome. He expanded it. He showed Chuck that there was more to learn. More to explore. More to become. That is the mark of a true master. Not someone who defeats you and walks away. But someone who defeats you and then extends a hand. Someone who shows you your limitations and then helps you transcend them. Someone who does not need to prove he is superior because his skill speaks for itself. If this story moved you, if it made you rethink what mastery really means, then do not keep it to yourself. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss another hidden legend. Another untold encounter. Another moment that changed martial arts history. Because the world is full of stories like this. Stories of humility. Of growth. Of two warriors meeting and both walking away better than they were before. Hit that notification bell. And join us as we uncover the moments that shaped the legends you thought you knew. Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris met on a film set in Rome. But what happened between them was not a movie. It was real. It was transformative. And it proves that the greatest battles are not won with fists. They are won with respect. With humility. And with the courage to admit that no matter how much you know, there is always more to learn.